Moving into our second story of the day, Biden uses the horrific events of the Colorado Springs shooting to push gun control. The left will take every moment they can about anything that's situated with guns or race or disparities in data and push their narrative or their agenda that they want. So President Joe Biden didn't wait very long to utilize the horrific Colorado Springs shooting, which was horrific, it was terrible, to push his gun control agenda. If there's any reason to be thankful that Republicans have the House back, it's probably right now. Biden, who admitted that there is yet to be a motive established in the Club Q shooting in Colorado, declared, "We need to enact assault weapons bans." How often do we see this where we don't have the evidence on something? The president, this happened under Barack Obama as well, the president will come out, the mayor, the governor will all come out. There's no evidence out. It's actually impossible to know what really truly took place other than the fact that people were killed. They're going to push this whole agenda now. You recently saw this with the idea of the noose at Barack Obama's presidential center, where they found a noose on a construction site. You literally had Obama himself come out and talk about it. You had the celebrities come out and talk about it. You had Mayor Lori Lightfoot come out and talk about it and condemn the whole thing, that we don't condone this, condemn this, blah, blah, all this stuff. And then you also had the governor of Illinois come out and talk about, oh, this is hate, this is racism, all these things. Literally, nobody knew anything other than that there was a piece of rope in a bag, that Chicago Police Department were still investigating the whole situation that took place. Nobody had any of the details. Literally every article that you read literally cited, nobody knows what happened, but here's what we're telling all of you. But it's not going to stop the progressive left from coming out and pushing a whole agenda. Oh, there's racism, sexism, we ban all your guns, all these things. They're going to keep doing this, and they have been doing it for quite some time. There were 5 people killed and another 18 injured in a tragic shooting at a gay nightclub in Colorado around midnight on Sunday. The suspect, 22-year-old Anderson Lee Aldrich, reportedly burst into the Club Q and began shooting at people. 2 brave patrons at the LGBTQ nightclub subdued the gunman before more people could have been harmed, which is just heroic, by the way. I'm not quite sure how they subdued him, but the fact that you had the cojones to go after a man with a gun that's shooting up the place and getting him, perfect. I wish you had armed security there on hand. Probably would have ended this a lot quicker. That's obviously speculative, not really sure, not there myself, but usually if you got a guy with a gun, you're going to stop a guy with a gun a lot quicker than you would be waiting for the police or other people. But good for these people for doing it. Colorado Springs Police Chief said Aldrich used a long rifle in the shooting. We don't actually know the style of rifle, actually specifically what rifle he used. And 2 firearms were found at the scene. The New York Times reported early reports indicated the suspect entered the nightclub wearing body armor and began firing with an AR-15 style assault rifle. I hate how these leftist media sites utilized just the AR-15 and throw the whole style in there, assault rifle. Why don't you just say it was just a long rifle? Why do you always have to push this AR-15 thing? Well, it was a style of an AR-15. What does that mean? Just stop trying to make AR-15 like the bad gun, even though it's the most commonly utilized weapon in terms of long rifles here in the United States. But they have an agenda. They want to get rid of it. They've been so clear that they want to get rid of the AR-15. It's head spinning. The View literally pushes it all the time. Oh, we need to just get rid of the gun. It's not going to stop anything. You can use any gun you want, a litany of any gun, and you can still do mass carnage. But for some reason, they're just hell-bent about this AR-15. The investigation is in its infancy, and a motive has yet to be determined by authorities. Biden issued a statement regarding the Colorado Springs shooting on Sunday. He's known to do this. He's known to jump the gun on these things. While no motive in this attack is yet clear, we know that the LGBTQI+ community has been subjected to horrific hate violence in recent years. So automatically attributing that this is going to be hate violence, and it very well could be. I don't know yet, but I'm going to withdraw judgment because I don't know yet, which is what he should have done. Most recently, I wouldn't say recent, one of the big things he did that was a news headline was, and jumping the gun, was when the Border Patrol agents had their reins of horses and they were said to have been whipping illegal immigrants. He jumped the gun, meaning the President of the United States, doing the same thing he is now. You had Jen Psaki jump the gun. Still has not apologized, by the way, even though everything's pretty much finished with that whole investigation. Everything's done. Still has yet to apologize, even though on the podium against Peter Doocy, she said she would apologize. She hasn't done it. So the Biden administration, that's what they do. They just go out and slander people and just rush to judgment, which you don't want from a president of the United States. So if China were to invade Taiwan, probably don't want this guy leading the show. Look what's going on with Russia, Ukraine. Don't want him leading the show. Look what is going on with just China and those negotiations. You don't want to lead the show. Look what he did with Saudi Arabia. You don't want him leading the show. And I know I'm repeating myself, but I think my point's across is this guy just jumps the gun, and you don't want somebody jumping the gun. You would rather have somebody that analyzes the situation once all the evidence is out and then make a decision on what to do. But hey, you know what? Let's just push hate crimes. Let's push hate violence right now based on zero evidence of that actually being what happened. Biden claimed gun violence continues to have a devastating and particular impact on the LGBTQI plus communities across the nation, and threats of violence are increasing. He cited a 2016 shooting at the Pulse nightclub in Orlando. Way to cherry pick there. Biden added, we continue to see it as an epidemic of violence and murder against transgender women, especially transgender women of color. Really? An epidemic of violence against trans women and trans women of color? I mean, you're talking a massive niche of people. I mean, a transgender person is already very small in terms of a sample size, or just, hell, even a population. Let's just go with that. Doesn't matter which one you use. And then you're going to make it even smaller, but make it transgender women of color. Okay. He said, we must drive out the inequalities and inequities that contribute to violence against LGBTQ plus people. President Biden noted the Colorado Springs shooter used a long rifle because he has to push the agenda. He has something. He wants to get rid of those guns, you guys. This is the president of the United States that's supposed to uphold the Constitution that wants to get rid of your guns. But we're conspiracy theorists, you guys. We're conspiracy theorists. And I've long said, even if you get rid of, let's say, the AR-15, the main objective here isn't just to get rid of the AR-15. It's to slowly build a roadmap, a road within itself that will chisel away at the Second Amendment. At some point in history, we will no longer have a Second Amendment. And when you don't have a Second Amendment, what don't you have? A First Amendment either, which is our logo. Our logo right there. Okay, that logo right there is facing the mic at the present time because that's your First Amendment, backed up by the Second Amendment with a handgun. That's why we created it. It is right there for all to see and appreciate that we have both of them, because God knows we need both of them in this country. Biden then pushes gun control agenda that he has advocated for since 1994. Quote, we must address the public health epidemic of gun violence. You gotta love that sentence, right? Let me just say that over again. We must address the public health epidemic of gun violence in all of its forms. Earlier this year, I signed the most significant gun safety law in nearly 3 decades. Basically, it's boasting about chiseling away at your Second Amendment rights. That's really all it is. In addition to taking other historic actions, but we must do more. A leader of the free world is just boasting about slowly chiseling away at your Second Amendment rights. That's just fun. Biden demanded, we need to enact an assault weapons ban to get weapons of war off America's streets. I love this when the Democrats and progressive left both do this. They're weapons of war, you guys. A knife is a weapon of war. Your freaking military helmet is technically a weapon of war. So you love how they always have to, they use this stuff at war. You know, they use the handguns and they use the long rifles. They're all from war. It's like, yes. Yes, they are. Very good. But, they have to bring this up because they have to paint a whole picture for these Democrats, progressive left, to make sure that you're stripped away of your rights. That's the normal for them to do now. Biden has a history of using heart-wrenching shooting tragedies to peddle his gun control agenda. On the anniversary of the harrowing Parkland shooting, Biden called for a similar ban on weapons of war. Again, it's the same stuff. Following 2 mass shootings in 2021, Biden made another demand to pass assault weapons ban. So he's just capitalizing on all this stuff. And most recently, last month, he pushed assault weapons ban after a shooting in North Carolina. Typical Biden to take hold of just the news of the day, which everybody does do. But the thing is he's pushing in a narrative and an agenda that ultimately strips people of their right. And you removing a long rifle, I don't care which one it is not going to stop some crazy, insane, evil person from doing a crazy, insane, evil act. If they're going to do it, they will find a means of doing it. All you are is screwing over law-abiding citizens like myself, protecting myself and my family. If I choose to have an AR-15 or an assault weapon style rifle, whatever you want to call it, Joe, that is my prerogative. That is my choosing. Maybe that's the best gun of fit for me. Maybe I feel the most comfortable. Maybe I'm the most trained in that firearm because I got that firearm because it feels good. The way it works and shoots feels good with me. It's the same thing with my handgun. I got my specific type of handgun because I like the style of the grip. I like the way it shoots. It's a workhorse. I like the feeling in my hand. So there's reasons why we choose the firearms we choose, but that's what they want to do, is chisel away at us so we don't have an opportunity to, one, either have a firearm in the future at all, or we're limited to what we can purchase and shoot with and protect our families and our lives with. I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Bald Brad Show. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all our future content.